Hi there, this is Pam from Jesus Junk Journals, and I'm going to show making some cloth covers for journals today. So I have more than one. I'm going to make them up ahead. And so I thought you might want to watch me do that. And by the way, if you're wondering why I started putting my face on the front of these videos, it's not because I'm vain. It's really pretty painful to watch these videos back, but I did feel like it helps you to get to know me a little bit better and feel like maybe, you know, you can enjoy my videos more if you see my face and just maybe feel like you have a sense of who I am or that sort of thing. So anyway, that's why I'm doing it, and I'll try to keep doing it. It's even though it is really hard to watch, but anyway, thanks for watching these, and come along and see what I'm going to do today. Hi there, I'm going to work on a cloth cover for my journal. Now this is the journal I did before, and it's one of my Thought Life journals, and when I covered it in this felt, and I just did this hand-stitched blanket stitch along the edge, and it just was very blah, and I couldn't decide what to do with it, so I decided to cut up some tablecloths and doilies and things, and I ended up appliquing the pieces over the felt, and then I cut this piece of muslin and hand stitched it on the sides. I stamped it and frayed the edges and all that, but what I found out, I glued it on, and it left some glue, like the glue came through and didn't look good, so I had to cover it with this, which worked out. But what I realized is it's better to think of it all out ahead of time instead of trying to fix a mistake. So I really like cloth covers, and I have a lot of doilies and things like that. So I think that what I'm going to do is plan these covers out. I'm going to make 2 or 3 ahead of time, and I kind of know the general size. Like here's another journal I'm making. They're all about the same size. So I cut a piece of white fabric that gives me plenty of room, and has extra on the ends, and so that gives me a starting place. So what I'm going to do is I've got these bits and pieces that I've cut. I think I'm going to lay this out across the top and let the white wrap around and let the edge show maybe. And then I've cut a chunk of this Battenberg lace tablecloth that I have that I almost sent to Goodwill. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I think I can put this to better use. So grabbed it back up and I cut this piece out. I think this will probably center on the spine. I need to go down and press it and starch it really well, which is why it was in the Goodwill, because it's a real pain to take care of it, and it stains really easily and so on and so forth. So I'm like, this is not for me, but it'll work for my junk journaling. And then I had an old doily that I got at a flea market that was on its last legs, and it had a lot of things torn and things like that, so I didn't feel bad about cutting it up. So I'm gonna probably tuck it under the edge. And here's another piece, and actually I'll probably do it that way. I'm gonna take this cut edge here, put it under here, and so I'll stitch these all together before I try to put them on the cover. And then this will leave room. I can put another label like I had before or something similar. So that would be one cover. And then I did another one, the same size, basic white cloth. Cut another chunk of that same tablecloth out. So once this is pressed, it'll lay out. It'll be really pretty on the cover. And I have a brown doily that I cut up just to add to it. So I'll probably put that on the cover some way or other. I might have it peeking out. I might add another piece to this, but I'm going to go ahead and press this out so I can see how it looks a little bit better. And So that's the second one. And then I have a third one. I have this, it's a dresser doily that I got at a flea market. And I thought it would be really pretty with the Bible, with the Heaven Journal kit. And so what I'm going to do, of course this long, but I'm going to use these two pieces with the edges. And for instance, if this is a Heaven Journal and it's about the same size, and I'll then put a piece of cloth on the inside of both front and back covers and just stitch it out so this edge stays visible. And so because it's too long, I'll just cut it, run a seam down the middle, and then I'll put another alternate fabric over the spine to cover the seam. Okay, I'm back. I went down and ironed and tried to put bleach on this. It didn't work that well, so I think my plan B is to use this as the back cover. But I'll show you how much prettier this looks ironed. So this will be one cover, and what I might do is put another layer of white cloth under this, and I might just stick with the off-white colors, not go so to that brown maybe on this one. And then here's this one that I ironed. Hope I didn't wrinkle it. And I did. I might have to re-iron that one. And these pieces I'm going to turn around and tuck under like that and like that, and then I will have to do a final pressing on this anyway after I sew it, so that's probably what I'll do. And then I had this eyelet that I was going to put across there and let this overlap and this overlap. And so I'm going to stitch those. And oh, let me show you, let me go I'll be right back. I wanted to show you this material. I bought this mirror on eBay and they mailed it to me, and I was like, how are they going to get that mirror to me and not break it? Well, what they did is they used this packing stuff, it's like a really flexible styrofoam foam stuff. And so what I'm going to do is cut a layer of this and put between the chipboard and the fabric. I'll put it smooth side up, and that will give it just a little bit more cushion, because I don't know if you've ever done this, but I took apart a photo album. It was an old Hallmark photo album, and it was the kind that was kind of squishy, just a little bit it gave, it just had just a bit of softness to it. And I'm like, how did they do this? Well, all it was a thin sheet of chipboard, a little thin piece of foam rubber, and another piece of chipboard. That was it. So I thought, all right, good to know. Nothing fancy, nothing I couldn't do. So I think that's what this will do for me on this one, is just give it a little softness, which will just kind of help, along with the fabric, it'll just be soft. So wanted to show that to you. And so as we progress, I'll come back and show you. I'm gonna sew these things, tack the things down, and move on with it. Okay, so we're going to do the next step, at least in my world, to make a cover, and that is the math, which is not so much fun. But it looks to me like if I leave like about 1/4 of an inch past the thing that sticks out the furthest, and it looks like 6.5 inches. So this thing will be 6.5 inches, and the back would be 6.5 inches. And then the spine, this is not stuffed, so I know it's going to be sticking way up. And so, and it looks to me like the spine should probably be, I know this is 2 inches. No, it's not either. It's 1.5 inches. So this is 1.5 inches, but I'm going to make it 1 3/4 inches. And that'll give me a little bit of leeway. And then there'll be space between those pieces of cardboard. You'll have your spine cardboard or chipboard, and you'll have your back panel and your front panel chipboard. And then when you put your cover on it, you leave space in between so that you can fold it back and forth. And so I'll allow room there, and that'll give it enough room to cover this. And then needs to be, I think 9 will work. So I'm gonna say 9. So now I'm gonna get my chipboard and cut those into the size. 6.5 by 9, 2 pieces, and 1 3/4 inch by 9. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've cut a couple of the pieces of cardboard. I didn't think you'd find that interesting, but I will go ahead and cut the final piece. I got this chipboard on Amazon. It's called heavyweight, but it's really pretty flexible. I have some super heavyweight or extra heavyweight, and it won't bend at all, and it's really like what a book would normally be like. And I use it in this Heaven box cover because I wanted it to be very stiff and not warp. This is going to have a soft cover, so I'm okay with some flexibility. So I'm going to, plus it's so much easier to cut. I'm just going to trace around this one now instead of using a ruler. Use it as a template. And I'll speed this up so that you don't have to watch me cut. Okay, so there's our chipboard. Move this out of the way. I'll be right back. I'm going to get my other materials. So here's this foam. And so now that I have the cardboard, I know the actual sort of wherefore of everything. I'm going to allow bigger spaces than I have in the past. I want this foam to be pretty much the exact size. So I think I'm just going to trace around this. This stuff cuts like a dream, so that's great, as opposed to chipboard, which does not. I've got my Fabri-Tac in front of me. Okay, and of course I have it in this Sugar Bell bottle with the silicone tip. You get the Sugar Bell bottles on Amazon. They give you a finer point, and they make your Fabri-Tac last longer because it does come out with a finer point. And then the silicone, be sure you get silicone or not plastic. The silicone just seals it really well. Comes off, doesn't stick. So okay, so now we will wait and see how well that sticks. Hopefully it sticks really well. Okay, I've gotten a little bit further on this particular cover. So when I glued this padding to the boards, I spread these out more. I mentioned that. And what I did not realize, of course, was the fabric I'd cut as my shape for this was not long enough. So I had to add some to each end, and which is fine. So that gives me a little extra to wrap around. So then when I wrap this around, I just happened to see that the way I'd stitched it, this is like sticking out like a ruffle. I thought, well, that's cute. So I think I'm going to try and scooch this down so that that can live like that and be a ruffle. So as you can see, I'm just sort of going with the flow. So flip this over, and I was debating, like I thought, well, you know, when you do cover a cover with paper, you use that double-sided tape. But I thought, well, I don't want to use double-sided tape because this is fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to get it as tight as I can by stitching it to the inside fabric, because I'm going to cover the inside with fabric as well. So that's my plan, and we will see how well that works. And I think I can, if I remember, I can check it by doing 3 sides. I'll do this side, and this side, and then see how it fits. If I have to, I can leave this side open and put some more padding up in it if I need to make it do what I want it to do. So now I'm going to get some fabric this will be a liner fabric. I'm going to do a double layer inside too. And one here and one here. And then I'm going to bring this in, hopefully double it over, and then do like a hand stitching on the inside to finish it. And kind of the same thing over here. However, I have to do that, I'm not sure yet, but probably let some of that show since it's pretty, and hand stitch it. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll come back and let you see how it looks. Okay, so I am working on this fabric. I found this toile that my sister gave me. Thank you, Pat. And I'm using that for the inside fabric. I used some Fabri-Tac and just glued the edges on the spine. Hopefully that will get covered. If not, I'll use some seam binding or something to cover it up. So I took this and pulled it over tight, trying to pull it as tight as I can, folded this under this raw edge of this lace, and now I am hand stitching it, sort of a hem stitch, sort of. It's been a long time since I was in home ec and they taught us that hemming stitch, so I don't think I quite have that down, but it's not Miss Napier's fault because she did teach me. But see, I'm getting that wrinkle, and I don't want a wrinkle, so I'm trying to get them tight, but basically just taking little stitches back and forth. So I'm going to do that and work my way across. And so I'm going to work on this for a while, and then I'll come back and show you the next thing. Okay, I am checking back in with you on this stitched cover that I'm doing, and I can't remember. I started this yesterday and I came back to it today, and I've just been stitching around this. So if I repeat myself, I guess I can edit it out. But so what I did is I used this fabric that my sister gave me, and I stitched kind of that hemming stitch around here. This is glued down now. And so while it was open, it was pretty loose. And so I took a piece of that plastic that I used, that cushion plastic, and I cut a piece exactly the size of this, and I slipped it up in it, and it's kind of just a little bit puffier, but it filled it out a little bit more. Then I went ahead and finished this up. So this is all sealed off now. I left it here because I'm going to glue in my pages later, and glue in my pages, and so I'm leaving it loose up here, here, and here, so that I can slip that cardboard under it, and then I'll finish those after the pages get glued in. So now I'm going to come over here to this edge and do the same thing. Now this one doesn't have the ruffle like this will have. So this one is just going to come over like that, and I'll double it over to the right size and stitch it like this one. And then at the corners, I just cut it off. Like this is a little too long, so I'll cut it off. I just folded it over at the corner so that it V's, so that it kind of V's to meet the other piece, and just tuck them in and stitch them. So I'm going to keep working, but I just wanted to stop and show you where I was at on this and what I had done. So back to sewing. Okay, so I'm going to start this again, and I thought I'd come back, and I'm using a thread that I shouldn't be using. It's this heavy cotton, like darning or embroidery thread, and I should use a thinner thread, a nicer thread, but I'm not, because I got this for free. Actually, it wasn't free. I got it in a bunch of sewing stuff that I got at a flea market, which is one of my favorite things to do. I feel like I got it free. I think I paid $2 or $3 for this bag of stuff. So when I find something extra that I didn't expect, and I feel like it's free. So I'm like, well, I have to use it. So it's not cooperating that well. It's kind of hanging up here and there, but I'm determined to use it because doggone it, it's free. So anyway, aha, there's my other pen I lost. Anyway, I wanted to say something wonderful happened for me. Gail Agostinelli had me, actually, she didn't have me. She had one of my kits, well, actually a couple of my kits, featured on her YouTube channel a couple of days ago, and it has just been wonderful. And I am so thankful, and I just want to acknowledge her and say thank you again. I know she's too busy to watch my videos, but I just wanted to let everybody know how wonderful she is, and to please support her if you're not already. But she helps new people, and I'm new, get started. And because she showed my kits, I have had so many new people come to my shop on Etsy, and even some of them are starting to show up on YouTube. So if you're out there and that's how you found me, I just thank you, and thanks to Gail. And I just think it's so nice of her to do that, because let me tell you, it is really difficult to get started on YouTube and Etsy, because they have so many people. So you really have to, you need people to subscribe and to hit like in order for YouTube to, you know, show you. Well, you can't do that. It's kind of that, what's it called? Catch 22, yeah. Because you need more people to check it and subscribe, but you can't get the people because you're not noticed. Anyway, so same thing on Etsy. Oh my goodness sakes. Anyway, so big thanks. I appreciate everybody's support and nice comments and purchases, all those things. So I don't know how that would be, but if you happen to be watching the video and you don't know where my stuff is, it's on both places. My website, which is JesusJunkJournals.com. I can't sew and talk at the same time, I guess. JesusJunkJournals.com, or on Etsy, I'm just Jesus Junk Journals. But what I have found is that even if you search that, I don't come up at the top. I'm down in the search somewhere. So if you do like Jesus Junk Journals, and then one of my kits, like my Thought Life kit or my Heaven Journal, and you can even put my name, Pam Sledd. Anyway, it takes several descriptors before I come up to the top. So anyway, that's where my stuff is. And so I just wanted to mention that, and just mention Gail. She's awesome. And she said she was going to make my Thought Life kit after Christmas. So that's exciting. So anyway, so here I am stitching this. I thought maybe I should show you some of it. So I'm tucking it under, tucking the raw edges under, and then folding it over again, trying to keep it uniform as best I can, you know, the width of it, and kind of smoothing this down. I'll do the same thing I did over here and put a piece of plastic under this when I get to this side. So I'm like sticking the needle in, running it along the edge a little ways, poking it out, in case you never took home ec. See the needle come out, catching just a little bit of that toile fabric, and then coming back up, and I'm not saying it's fast, because it's not, but that's what I'm doing. And that's how they used to teach us to do a hem stitch on a skirt back in the days when we all wore skirts and had to hem them. Thank goodness those days are over. And then just go back in again, go a little further, come out, catch the fabric, and either come back up into the cotton if you have to. It's kind of hard to do because it's flat and that cardboard's in the way. So it's a lot harder to do than the skirt was in home ec in 7th grade. But anyway, so I'm not going to bore you with watching me do this for a long, long time. But I thought I should show you at least the stitch. So I'm going to work my way around here, this, and then probably when I'm all done, I'll come back. Okay, so I'm back and I'm ready to put this plastic or this foam over on this side. So I thought I would turn the camera back on to show you that I'm going to cut it. I want it to be exactly the size of, I'm going to follow this line along here. That should do it. Man, this stuff's easy to cut. I wish everything was this easy to cut. All right, so I've done this edge, getting ready to finish this up. And then I'll be ready to glue in the pages. And I honestly don't know. I haven't done this exactly like this before, so we'll see what happens. You know, I may have to do some finagling at the end, but anyway. Okay, so I got that all done. It's open here and here, so I can put the book in, and so we'll see what happens. But I have this all ensconced in fabric, and so I have the pages, and I just want to see, let's see, make sure I have this up right. So if I put that here, I'm keeping the needle attached because I'm going to sew it, I think, after this is glued in. So this needs to tuck in here. Okay, so that'll be all right. So then I'll just need to figure out what to do with the cardboard edges. Okay, so I'm going to take Fabri-Tac and here. Might be overkill, but that's okay. Okay, so again, make sure I got it up right. Tuck this little cardboard in up here. Make sure I've got it lined up with the cardboard spine. Tuck it in down here. Check it again, make sure I'm lining it up on the right piece of cardboard. And then pressing it down, I wanted to make sure it was on top of the fabric on both sides. Yes, okay, so pressing it down, and then I want to press it down again. And I'll go back with some washi tape and put in between the signatures too. So I've got 3 signatures in this. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry and finish up the sewing. But this is what the cover looks like so far. I'm going to put a title on it. Here's the back. And so it has a little ruffle on this one side. And so that's that. We're going to let it dry.